everybody, it's Glenn back in this video with the Marvel Legends X-Men last stop before we look at the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure of the Wave. It's the one that some of you whiny bitches, loyal viewers, just couldn't wait for. And I use whiny bitches as a term of endearment there. Come on guys, sit back, get comfortable, rub your unicorn's horn as I'm about to shoot a load of opinions about this Deadpool action figure at you. On the side art there is the man, the merc, the legend, and then on the back in typical Deadpool style, having to be different, he gets custom artwork. I'd date me. That's him saying that, but yeah, I probably would. Then there is the Juggernaut Bath of this wave, and the action figures I've already reviewed: Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Iceman, Havoc, Rogue, Phoenix, Cable, and now we have Deadpool. With his bio reading combined with impressive agility and stamina, Deadpool's power of self-healing makes him nearly unstoppable in a fight. So here is Deadpool out of packaging, mostly on the Bucky cap body, yet it doesn't feel like I've just bought the same action figure for the umpteenth time, as enough additions have been made to make it quite transformative, what with the harness, the forearm armor, the belt, the leg harness, down to his shin guards and buckled boots. The silver deco of those buckles does show up that the deco elsewhere is really quite sparse, so no paint apps to the various sculpted details of, say, the fasteners of the various pouches of the leg holster, belt and harness, except that is for the green of the grenades and his logo on the belt buckle. The harnesses and the belt buckle would have hugely benefited from a paint wash too, to make it more real worldly looking and take away some of that plasticness. If we take maximum effort to be one of the character's catchphrases from the movie, then in comparison the deco is really quite minimum effort. Likely the deco paying the price of all his accessories. The only figure in this wave not to receive a Build-A-Figure piece, yet that's made up for by quite the arsenal. Kicking it off with what are likely his signature weapons, his katana swords, which are moulded from a grey metallic-ish plastic with some paint deco to their handles. Both of these can be stowed away on his back. It does require a little force as the swords have a curvature to their blade, and then the sheaths that you place them in aren't as curved. Followed by a twin set of handguns, nice sculpt, zero deco. The first of these can be holstered on his belt there, and then the second holstered on his leg harness. Then a knife which has some serration to its sculpted edge, and then some black for the paint deco of the handle, with this stowing away into his boot. Breaking out the big guns, and he comes with this bazooka. It's moulded in a military green plastic with no deco. Well, to answer your question, Supersonic 107 swag, I assume the boxing glove is there just for comic effect, because we all know what a goof this guy can be, and it may in fact relate to some specific comic art that I'm not aware of. But then I wouldn't also be surprised if it's there to diffuse him coming with a bunch of somewhat realistic looking weapons that might otherwise have leagues of mums blaming toys for their little darlings growing into violent individuals, because that's always caused by external factors. It couldn't possibly be caused by bad parenting now, could it? The boxing glove pegs in, so is removable. Now I know we adult collector types are supposed to snub play features, but I'd squeal with joy if this had an actual firing mechanism. This being the Bucky Cap body, he does have a hole on his back, originally from where Bucky Cap could stow away his shield. It does accommodate an old Toy Biz style flight display stand if you have one of those, and handily the bazooka can also plug in there. His arsenal is then completed with these two more fanciful guns, moulded from a different metallic-ish grey plastic to his other weapons. No place for these to be stored about his person, so into his hands they go. Really, in terms of accessories, lots of bang for your buck here, with him as a mercenary coming with all the tools of the trade and then some, presenting lots of different display options. Now taking a closer look at the head sculpt, I love the peak of the mask at the top in the back, and the seams sculpted raised in relief are nice. As for the expression, I do like it, I just wish the expression had been more committed too. It's like they've gone for that signature Deadpool look with one eye widened, yet it's subtle and more looks like it's there as a result of haphazard paint application of the eyes, or they could have gone for a more neutral and naturalistic facial expression, but what we get is a sculpt on the fence between the two. Not that we can say that of his interchangeable unmasked head, which unabashedly commits to its wacky expression, collection, and it's also in receipt of this figure's only real paint wash, that being a dark reddish one, which achieves accentuating the sculpt where layers of skin give way to bare flesh underneath, but also transforms plastic into a raw looking soreness. For me, the best of the deco is the yellow of the eyes that have some really nice crisp outline work around them. As for the old Toy Biz unmasked head sculpt versus this new one, it's not really a like-for-like comparison as they are trying to achieve very different expressions. Toy Biz is much more gnarly, so it's down to personal taste really. For my mood right now, I'd go for Hasbro's new fun-loving one. Now going to split screen to check out the articulation, and both their heads rotate and they're both able to bury their respective chins into their chest, and they look up about the same amount too. At the shoulder his arms rotate and then they move up to just slightly more than a right angle to the body. There's upper arm rotation followed by a double jointed elbow. Then at the wrists the hands rotate and these are hinged moving down and also up. It's worth noting though that the way the armoured part extends over the wrist does inhibit some of the articulation. Then there's waist rotation and an ab crunch which moves plenty forward but then doesn't really move far back. However, I don't think the sheaths for his katana swords would allow it to anyway. At the hips his legs move out to the side this far and they move this far forward and then they move very slightly back. There's upper leg rotation followed by a double jointed knee. There is rotation at the top of his boot there and his feet are hinge moving backwards but not particularly forwards, and there's that crazy ankle rocker pivot that I love, with this being his widest stance possible, still with both feet flat on the floor. Now comparing him to his previous two incarnations in Legends form, Toy Biz's Series 6-1 from back in 2004 on the left of the screen, then Hasbro's previous version from their Toys R Us 2-pack and Epic Heroes wave on the right. And I'm calling it, the new one is the best Marvel Legends Deadpool. Some might still tout the articulation of the Toy Biz one, but it comes with a price. Look at those ugly sticky out shoulders, and as good as its articulation is in some areas, it has next to no ankle pivot, and Hasbro's first effort had zero ankle pivot. My concern with this new one being on the Bucky Cat body is that much like Spider-Man, I always enjoy the visual leanness of the character in much of the comic art. It just communicates something about the pluckiness of the character that I find endearing. Those kind of proportions were probably better illustrated by Hasbro's first effort, whereas the Bucky Cat body is more muscular with its inverted triangulated chest. But in front of me I think it's a good fit, and we've since seen that bigger body mold introduced into the line used for Cap, Namor, the Walgreens Punisher, so that does reset the Bucky Cat body mold as smaller in scale. Now feeling appropriate here. I guess after the movie that saw Colossus becoming the straight man to Deadpool, this is a natural comparison to want to see. Obviously Marvel Select is more 7-inch scale compared to Legends 6-inch scale, so the Select Colossus does dwarf the Legends Deadpool, yet Colossus is just that, so you could say fudge the difference in scale between the two lines as that just being the Russian mutant superhuman size. And what with these two currently sharing in the comics an often unrequited bromance, here he is side by side with Pizza Spidey, and like how we call him Pizza Spidey owing to the pizza accessory he came with, I wonder if in time this will become known as Taco Deadpool, as on top of all those weapons he comes with one of those too. Nicely decoed it is too. Looking at it, it's actually making me very hungry. So all things considered, and going back to maximum effort as a concept, and for this figure I'd say not quite, sitting somewhere between maximum effort and medium effort. And I've heard some grumbles of discontent and voiced in this video some criticisms myself. Those result from the character becoming such a phenomenon, with his action figure as a result being put on a pedestal and as such under the closest of scrutiny. So yep, a tweak here and there, mostly in the deco, would have made it better, yet at the end of the day Hasbro have made, in my opinion, the best Marvel Legends Deadpool to date. And as a Deadpool fan I can't really ask more of them than that, and as a collector I'm more than happy to be adding him to my collection. And to all of you who wish to do the same, good luck to you and may your toy hunting be prosperous. Anyway, if this video has left you hungry, not for tacos but for more Deadpool, and you haven't watched my Deadpool action figure evolution, then click this video and take in just about every Deadpool action figure ever made, and hope to see you all next time. Bye.